Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is my character analysis slash focus on video of What Lies Beneath. This episode was really cool. There's just definitely so much to talk about, so get comfy. This is gonna take a while. This video will definitely be a little bit of focus on video, character analysis. I would say dream analysis, but it's not really a dream, so... I think that we got to learn something different from every single one of these characters. Even though Cozy Glow was just so hurtful at the beginning of this episode, I think she summarized the characters' problems and ultimately what their resolutions might be. All those things that she's talking about are definitely going to be relevant later on in the episode, so... interesting. Could she be setting them up? I don't know. But anyway, now let's get on to the first character. We'll start with Gallus. At first, his fear seems to be kind of straightforward. Oh, it's claustrophobia. However, as it is with most of these kinds of things, it may not be as simple as that. The interesting question is to why? I often like to think of fear as sometimes having levels. Like, the surface fear is just a fear that's on the surface. It's the thing you see at first. But down underneath, there's usually a primary fear that's really the cause of the problem, and that's the fear you really have to deal with. We know from a previous episode that Gallus is essentially an orphan, or at least it sounds that way. Like, he has no friends, he has no family, so being an orphan means he's trapped socially, and I have a feeling that this claustrophobia is a reflection of that. However, this could just be me seeing what I want to see, and it could just simply be a fear of claustrophobia. And I have to say that, yeah, having the room closing around you would be pretty scary. It's like, there's no way out! But fortunately here, he realizes that, oh, this is a test! There is a way out! I just have to calm down, you know, try to figure out what's going on, and as he says later on in the episode, he has to go and face that fear! And ultimately, he's able to figure this puzzle out and escape. So, yo! I think the thing that we learn from Gallus's test is that there is a way out. You just have to be calm, take a breath, figure it out, and definitely face your fear. So, this is why when you're in an emergency situation, often the first thing they tell you is everybody stay calm, because panic is deadly. Panic leads to rash, impulsive decisions that will ultimately get you into even worse trouble. If Gallus had just like panicked and just be like, he would have tripped like all the purple lights and he would have been crushed. So, take a breath, be calm, figure this out. You can figure this out. There is a way out, and you will be fine. So, yo. If you really want to think about it, there's some interesting things to think about, but on the surface, it's kind of straightforward. I guess we had to start somewhere, so... But the good news is things definitely get a lot more interesting. So now on to Smolder. This kind of caught me off guard, but I kind of like it. And I do have to say, it is just so weird seeing Smolder in a dress. Sacrilege! If the other dragons knew this, they'd never let her live it down. This is exactly why she's afraid to admit this to anybody, because it's like, I can't let anybody know, because if they do, they're just gonna laugh at me. Even Ocellus laughs at her. She immediately is like, oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't very nice, Ocellus, but I could totally understand that. A dragon liking cute stuff? What? Wait, you were serious? Smolder's is kind of straightforward, but it's such a common fear. I think the Brodies relate to this. It's like, we can't let anybody know we like this show for 6-year-old girls. Ugh. I'm definitely selective about the people I tell that I like the show or not, because some people be like, fine, whatever, and other people be like, and they'd never let me live it down. So yeah, so this is actually a pretty common fear. It's a fear of, you know, liking something and then being ridiculed. Well, line from character, it's not the pain, it's the ridicule that hurts. Oh. I do like that she's much more direct than all the other characters. Literally asks these two ponies, okay, what do I have to do to get out of here? I gotta go find my friends. But it's like, yeah, she has to face her biggest fear, which is admitting, even to herself, that she likes cute things. So I guess what we learned from Smolder is not to let the fear of ridicule stop you from being who and what you are, which I thought was cool. I do like big, tough dragons. It's okay for her to like cute stuff, so, yo! So now moving on to Silverstream, it's like, ooh, this was a good one. I liked this one. It's like, oh, the symbolism! It's like, oh, there's so much to think about here if you really, really wanted to stop and think about it, which I do, because that's why I'm making this video. So, the Storm King, he's back! No! This is obviously one of her biggest fears, is the Storm King coming back. Or is it? Again, it's much more complicated in that that's only the surface fear. That's only on the surface. The true fear is much deeper down, which is basically she's afraid of being trapped. Because she was trapped. While Gallus was socially trapped, she and her entire race were physically trapped underwater to avoid being enslaved by the Storm King. If that's not traumatic and something that you should be afraid of, frankly, I don't know what is. I actually really like Silverstream because she has such an interesting problem, and I only really started to realize why she's so excited about just about everything. You've been underwater a long time, haven't you? It's like she has. It's kind of like she was like born in a prison and she's only lived inside that prison, and then one day she was freed and now it's a whole new world and everything's exciting because she's never seen any of this before. The only thing she's seen was in that prison. The only thing that she saw was underwater, and now it's like stairs, plumbing. I've never seen these before. It's awesome. Yes. It's like I want to learn about everything and do as much stuff as I can because I couldn't do this stuff at all before. And that's the fear. The fear is I have to go back to that. I'm going to be trapped in that prison of I can't do anything except be what I have to be in order to survive. That's tough. I really like the use of the sea pony form and her hippogriff form because both represent two very different things. The sea pony form is the form that she had to be for all these years. It almost represents the comfort zone, the place that you go when you run and hide. When she sees the Storm King, her first instinct is to turn back into a sea pony and run and hide in that safe place that she existed in for pretty much most of her life. When Gallus is able to convince her to go and stand up to the Storm King, then she turns back into a hippogriff and is like, that's just so cool. It's like, this is who she really is. The hippogriff is who she really is, and the sea pony is what she was forced to be. And I think that was such an interesting symbolism thing. That was just great. Yo! And the other thing I really liked about this test was that it wasn't just, I'm not afraid of you! Ah! That's not enough. That's not resolving the problem. That's just telling the problem to go away. And that doesn't get you anywhere. What gets you somewhere is to take control. And that's exactly what Silverstream is doing. It kind of reminds me of a line from Babylon 5. It's like, no one takes power, they're given power. In this case, the image of the Storm King represents fear itself. So, by hiding from it, she's giving this power to that fear. But by becoming the hippogriff again and going and facing it, she's taking control away from that fear and putting it back onto her. And this is basically what she's saying when she yells at the Storm King, I'm gonna go on adventures and soar through the sky and do whatever I want, and I'm not even gonna think about you anymore, so... Rah! That is exactly the way to fix this. This is saying to the fear, no, you're not in charge, I am. And I'm gonna go and do what I want, and I'm not gonna let you stop me, so... And I think that's exactly right. And I started to think about this being almost like a bully situation, where it's like the Storm King is like this big evil boy, which of course he is. It's like you're totally afraid that this person's just gonna come and hurt you. It feels like the only thing you can do is run away. I have to say, this is definitely something that I think a lot of people who've been bullied before could understand, and definitely would love to scream at the bullies. We're not gonna let you control us anymore. We're gonna do whatever we want, and you're not gonna stop us. And we're not even gonna think about you anymore, so roar! So from Silverstream's test, we could definitely relate to bullying, but also just to simply stand up to that fear and not let that fear be in charge, and learn how to take control by ultimately taking away the threat of that fear. It's not just simply saying, oh, he's been defeated, he's not real, he's not really here. That's not the point. The point is that that fear hasn't been resolved yet. The fear of, I'm gonna be trapped down here forever, that still exists. Even though the creature that was responsible for it is gone, the fear that, oh, she's gonna have to go back to what she was before, to basically be this creature that she doesn't really want to be anymore, that's the fear. That's the thing that she's facing here. It's not the Storm King, and it doesn't matter if he's gone or not. And I thought that was a great way for Gallus to help her, because he understands this feeling too. He understands what it feels like to feel like you're trapped. So he's helping her to deal with this by saying, even if he is here, go tell him exactly what you think of him. don't cower behind this rock. Go and face this fear, because that's part of the thing that Gallus learned from his test, and I thought that that was great, and that was awesome, so yay! And it was definitely so awesome to see Silverstream facing down the Storm King. He was like, go get him! Roar! Once she faces him, the illusion of the Storm King is immediately shattered, even before all the rocks fall apart. I like that. That was great. Oh, the symbolism! So, I really liked this test. It was really cool. It was really emotional, but it was so worth it in the end, and it was great. Yes! I'm so proud of you, Silverstream! I have a feeling all the other hippogriffs would be proud of her too, so yay! So now moving on to Ocellus, which in some ways is kind of straightforward, but was really quite surprising. It's like, she turned into Chrysalis. No! Oh, poor Ocellus. And it was definitely very amusing to watch Chrysalis crying. I never thought I would see the day to see Chrysalis cry. This was really surprising to me because I could see, I guess I could turn back into an evil changeling. I think that was actually a pretty good idea though, to really represent that fear by taking the form of Chrysalis, because she really is the evil behind the changelings and not the changelings themselves. The darkness that feeds Chrysalis, that could still be inside me, just waiting to come out, and I could one day wake up and become Chrysalis! But of course, as Smolder says, it's like, that's ridiculous, that's not who you are anymore, you've changed. But deep down inside, she's still afraid that that could happen. Interestingly here, they're not afraid of Chrysalis coming back, because by herself, Chrysalis is essentially no threat. If she showed up at the Changeling Hive, they would just say, Chrysalis, get lost. But the fear that they could go back to being what they were, or all of a sudden they could be the very evil that they threw out, that they would basically turn away, that fear is still there. In some ways, when I think about it, it's not too surprising about this. You've lived your entire life one way, taking love from other ponies and feeding upon it. Now all of a sudden, you don't do that anymore. You look down on that, and you know, you want to share love. It's kind of difficult to forget what you were like before. We've been this way almost our whole lives. We can't change that much, can we? I think there's a lot of people that could identify with this. There's a lot of things in life that you could say, oh, I quit smoking, I quit drinking alcohol or something, and then, but there's always that fear of, oh, I could just go back to being what I was before. Oh, I could just start smoking or drinking alcohol again, and just, oh, and I could just undo that change. This is why I often say a lot of these things like shyness or fear, anxiety, they're not just like, okay, I overcome my shyness, I'm no longer shy, yay! It's like, no, they're ongoing struggles and you just gotta keep on fighting them and struggling with them. But that doesn't mean that you're gonna lose. It just means that once in a while you're gonna have to keep fighting that fight. In the end, as long as you keep up that fight, you will win. So, roar! And I like in this test, just like with Silverstream, is like here she really needs the support of her friend to tell her, look, no, we really can change. If I can admit to you that I like cute stuff, then you can change. You don't have to be this evil creature that you were before. It seems like the lesson here is pretty straightforward. You can actually change, and in really big ways, and it's gonna be awesome, so, yo! I do like how Smolder was being sneaky. It's like, well, you know, I was going to invite you to a secret tea party, but if you'd rather stay down here, I'm fine with that. No, I want to come. No, don't leave me here. Chris was saying this was great. And I do like how at the end Ocellus is like, yay, I'm me again. Yes. So good for you, Ocellus and Smolder. Yo. Now on to Yona. Once again, on the surface, it looks like this is a pretty straightforward fear. She's afraid of spiders. But again, it could be deeper than that. The question is, why? Cozy Glow kind of explained this pretty well. Yaks think they're best. So yeah, making friends with other creatures feels kind of like making friends with spiders. Yaks live in this small little community in the mountains all by themselves. They don't get out much, as the saying goes. Trying new things and trying to make friends with new creatures. All that is kind of scary in itself. So what she really has to do here is she has to learn to overcome the fear of the spiders and, in a way, the unknown, and also allow herself to make friends with this creature that feels small and insignificant compared to the Yak. I must admit, I'm scared of spiders and bugs and things, but when I think about it, they're way more scared of you than you are of them, and they have much more reason to be, because you could just squish them like bugs, because they are bugs. In some ways, the spiders should be way more scared of Yona, and they should be the ones that should be running away. But they are actually trying to make friends with her, and once she allows them to actually make friends with her, well, then she realizes, oh, spiders aren't so scary after all. In fact, spiders are cool. Spiders can be my friends. Yo! Another interesting thing with this test is that Yona has to do something else that we know yaks don't like, and that's ask for help. There was a whole episode dedicated to the fact that yaks are so proud they don't like to ask for help. And here she actually has to say, Yona need help! And I think that was part of this test. She had to overcome her fear of the spiders, she had to make friends with the spiders, but she also had to be willing to ask for help, because really she needed it. Because that was one of the next things that she does. She asks her new friends, the spiders, to help her find her old friends who do need her help. Fortunately, she passes on all counts, so yay! I'm so proud of you, Yona. It's just so nice to see characters growing. Yes! I promised myself I wouldn't cry. So now onto SandBar. Oh no. I have to get this out of the way first. I could totally insert BlueStar here instead of SandBar, because I totally understand why he's so excited. It's like, they want my help! Yes, this is like a dream come true. This is what I've always wanted. SandBar, just like BlueStar, looks up to the main six, and he wants their approval and their respect. I think SandBar, is when I think about it, is actually pretty straightforward, but it's kind of unexpected because we didn't really know this about SandBar. Okay, he's obviously attending the School of Friendship, but we don't know that he admires the main six this much, and it's kind of surprising, but I totally understand it because I admire the main six too. I think they're awesome, and I think they're awesome for the same reasons that he thinks they're awesome. It's like they would never turn their backs on each other. They would always go and protect each other. It kind of got confusing towards the end. I almost think what they should have done to clarify this is for have SandBar to say, my friends are in trouble. I'm not just going to abandon them. And that would have really driven the point home that the main six are essentially asking SandBar to abandon their friends, possibly while they're in danger, so that he can go on an adventure with them, and maybe it's an Equestria saving kind of an adventure. But essentially, the main six are asking him to sacrifice and abandon his friends. And of course, a true friend would never do that. But that would be kind of tough when I think about it. Which is more important, saving the world or saving your friends? That's tough. In fact, this is often a choice that the evil supervillains will make, is like, save your friend or save the world, but you can't do both. So maybe in retrospect, maybe it was better the way they did that, so, but still, I really like that, because that might be the fear as well. In this one, he has to do a couple things. He obviously has to not abandon his friends, but the other is that he has to face the rejection of his heroes. He has to be willing and able to basically go up to them and say, no, I'm not going to do that, and you disappoint me. And he has to be not concerned about whether they're going to reject him. He has to face that fear, and it's a pretty big fear. Pretty much guaranteed that the main six are going to basically say, oh, we're totally disappointed in you, and we don't want you to follow us anymore. We don't like you either. Fortunately, not only did that not happen, but instead, we're so proud of you. He was willing to stand up to his heroes, regardless of the consequences, for the sake of his friends. And that was ultimately the lesson that he had to learn here. And I thought that was great, so... Roar! As that line from Harry Potter, it's like, it takes a great deal of courage to stand up to your enemies. But it takes a great deal more to stand up to your friends. But fortunately, he was able to find the courage and stand up for himself and his friends. And in the end, everything was great, and everybody's happy and proud, and yay! I really loved this episode because it was just so awesome. It was just so cool. And I really, really, really loved it because it was just so nice to see the characters expressing their fears and, again, sharing it with each other. Not only were they able to tell those fears to other creatures, they were doing so to help that creature to face their own fears. And I thought that was just great. There's only one thing more awesome than watching somebody facing and overcoming their fears, and that's to see someone helping somebody else to overcome and face their fears. This is why friendship is truly magic. As the Tree of Harmony says, you were strong when your friends were weak. And that's why friendship is truly magic, and I really liked how this episode really does explore how friendship can be magic, and how friends can be there for each other, and I really did like how this episode explored the characters, their fears, and in the end showed how they really are friends and how their friendship truly is magic. So, yo! So, that is the end of my focus on and character analysis video on What Lies Beneath. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and until next time, this is BlueStar. Stay strong, and pony on. BlueStar out.